A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a highly anticipated meeting, President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin are set to land in Alaska this Friday for crucial discussions regarding the ongoing war in Ukraine. As the conflict, which began over 3 years ago, continues to escalate, both leaders are expected to present differing perspectives on how to bring about an end to hostilities. The backdrop of this meeting is one of heightened scrutiny, with Ukraine and its European allies closely monitoring the proceedings, hoping that President Trump will safeguard their interests during the talks. The summit marks the first joint news conference between the two leaders since their controversial 2018 Helsinki meeting, where Trump faced backlash for siding with Putin over U.S. intelligence agencies regarding Russian interference in the 2016 election. Ahead of the meeting, President Trump has sought to temper expectations, stating, "All I want to do is set the table for the next meeting, which should happen shortly." This sentiment hints at a potential follow-up meeting that could include Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and other allies, with Trump suggesting that Zelensky might even join them in Alaska within days. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt characterized the discussions with Putin as a listening exercise for Trump, emphasizing that the president's goal is to gain a clearer understanding of how to conclude the ongoing war. As the summit approaches, several pressing questions loom. What are Russia's true intentions? And is there any possibility of reconciling its demands with Ukraine's needs? In the lead-up to this pivotal meeting, U.S. and Russian officials have engaged in discussions, and Trump and Putin have communicated via phone. Earlier this year, Ukraine agreed to a 30-day ceasefire proposal backed by the U.S. But as the months progressed without a resolution, Secretary of State Marco Rubio expressed concerns that Russia might be stalling negotiations. By July, the situation had deteriorated, with mounting casualties in Ukraine as Russia intensified its bombing campaign. In a bid to pressure Russia into compliance, Trump initially imposed a 50-day deadline for a deal to end the war, later shortening it to just 10 days, accompanied by threats of harsher tariffs and secondary sanctions. This prompted a mocking response from former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev, who claimed that Trump's ultimatums were merely escalating tensions rather than fostering peace. However, just before the expiration of Trump's deadline, the Kremlin announced the upcoming meeting with Trump. During a press conference, Trump warned of very severe consequences for Russia if it fails to agree to end the war following their discussions, though he refrained from detailing what those consequences might entail. Meanwhile, Zelensky and European leaders held a virtual meeting with Trump, expressing their support for his efforts to bring about a resolution and emphasizing the need for a just and lasting peace. European leaders have expressed skepticism regarding the Trump-Putin summit. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk emphasized the importance of convincing Trump that Russia cannot be trusted, cautioning against any recognition of Russia's claims to dictate borders for its neighbors. With Zelensky absent from the talks, concerns are rising that Trump may be reluctant to confront Putin directly. Experts predict that Putin will pursue objectives that are unlikely to align with U.S. and Ukrainian interests. Bradley Bowman, a senior director at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, noted that Putin aims to undermine U.S. support for Ukraine while portraying the invaded nation as the aggressor. As Trump seeks to end the war, analysts warn that Putin may attempt to leverage Trump's desire for peace to further his own agenda. John Locke, an associate fellow at Chatham House, suggested that Russia might present Trump with an appealing proposal that he could endorse, potentially pressuring Ukraine and its allies into concessions. However, Locke also cautioned that the meeting poses significant risks for Russia, as they may not achieve their desired outcomes. Daniel Fried, a former U.S. ambassador to Poland, expressed concerns that Putin could exploit the meeting to create divisions between the U.S. and its allies. He warned that a successful outcome for Putin would involve dazzling Trump with a deceptive offer while undermining U.S. unity with Ukraine and European partners. The Kremlin's previous proposals for a ceasefire have raised alarms, as they included demands for Ukraine to withdraw from territories illegally annexed by Russia and to cease military aid. Wendy Sherman, a former Deputy Secretary of State, asserted that Putin has no genuine interest in ending the war, viewing the summit as an opportunity to manipulate the situation to his advantage. Zelensky has reiterated Ukraine's stance that any resolution must involve a complete withdrawal of Russian forces and an end to hostilities. He firmly stated that Ukraine would not concede any territory to Russia, emphasizing that the country's constitution prohibits such actions. In response to Trump's comments about potential land swaps, Zelensky reaffirmed that Ukraine would not reward Russia for its aggression. Despite the challenges, some analysts believe that Zelensky is pragmatic enough to recognize that territorial concessions might be necessary for a lasting peace. However, the overarching concern remains whether Putin's deep understanding of Ukraine could allow him to manipulate Trump during their discussions. As the world awaits the outcome of this high-stakes summit, the stakes could not be higher. The future of Ukraine hangs in the balance, and the potential for a diplomatic resolution remains fraught with complexities. With both leaders having distinct agendas, how this meeting will unfold and what implications it will have for the ongoing conflict remains to be seen. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.